Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Arganissima, New York.
Well, welcome back to the iHealth channel, iHealth Radio, the FitnessFab channel, with your host, the one and the only Hurricane H. New show, new topic, very, very related topic to a lot of discussion we've had recently. New guest, though, with a different angle. And our guest today has a very unique approach about how to change people's lives and how to make them optimize their physical and mental health. And, there is an actual method, and he's going to break it down to us and how it relates to live and everything else that we do, and how you can really manifest a new you. And I'm going to leave it at that. And again, it is like, the question is like, people listening right now, you probably wonder like, well, what is Hurricane talking about today? Well, you know me, I always start suspenseful and then we go into the deep dive. So with me, I have Gunther Mueller, and he is going to guide us through this optimization in his own way. And he has a very, very unique approach about it. So first things, are first. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being with us today.
Hey, Hurricane. Thank you so much for being on iHealth here. I'm really excited. I've been waiting a while to chat with you, and hopefully we create a great conversation today to inspire many of your listeners to really take action to create a life that they love. That's what I'm about, is really showing folks a practical way to create the life that they love now.
Well, thank you for that. And I have to say, I don't know of anyone that we can encounter today that is not, and will not be looking for a better life for themselves, right? So I think that's a common goal for everyone. No matter how we go about it, there is a way. We're trying to do it somehow, somewhere, learning different tactics and techniques and ways to do it. You will drive this through today with your own way. But let's talk about that. I mean, we live in a society that is a little bit hectic. So you and I were talking about Hurricane and the difference between lifestyles in New York versus, let's say, Arizona, right? And right. I told you I was stuck in traffic for about 3 hours. That's hectic. So I'd love to change that. Eventually, somehow, somewhere, I want to do that, in the near future. But everybody is really they're looking forward to a change in their life, and a better one, not a bad thing. And we are always kind of stuck because we're locked into a lot of ways, and we also know a certain way of doing things, and maybe we're not able to move from that. So What do you say to that part? Because I think that's going to be important to dissect before we get into the how.
Yeah, that's a great segue for me to lay the groundwork a little bit, right? So you're spot on. We have ideas and dreams sometimes of what we might want to create in life, but we're not clear on it. So I come to you. The first thing I want to let everybody know is, look, you're not broken, and there's nothing to fix. So if you've been in the personal development world for any time, and you're going back to books and courses and functions and all different kinds of things, you're going back to try to fix some aspect of yourself to get what it is you truly would want, I'm here to tell you, you're not broken and there's nothing to fix.
I have to love that. I mean, I think that's the first thing that we can really get excited about, because most of us, sometimes do think that there's something wrong. Yeah. And we're like scrambling, like, what is it? And you're looking inside of you and you're trying to figure out through other people's, mirror. And sometimes that's a problem, I think, but we'll talk about that. But so the good news is we're good. So I love that. Go for it.
Right. So let me tell you why we feel like we got to fix ourselves is because when we came into the world, I want you to think about being in the womb And being in the womb was like a, 5-star Ritz-Carlton experience. Okay. All your needs were met. You didn't need for anything. It was warm, had all your food, whatever you needed. It was awesome. Right. So you get popped out into the world, and all of a sudden you got to make some decisions about what it's like here. Like, you got to decide, what do I got to do to get some food? What do I got to do to get a safe place to sleep? What do I got to do to get love and affection? What do I have to do to get my diaper changed? Right. All of a sudden, you're trying to figure out what it's like here and what you have to do to get what you need. And so between like the ages of 0 and 7, we're making a lot of decisions about what life is like here. And so depending on your parents and your surrounding and your school, your religion, maybe culture, like all this stuff is mixed up, and you had to see what it was like here. Now we get to adulthood and we have some desires to have things a certain way. But what if that 5-year-old version of you is running your unconscious program?
That would be a mess.
That would be a mess. Exactly. Right. And for a lot of people, you mentioned the word stuck before. That's one of the places we can be. We can be stuck, and stuck means like nothing is changing. Groundhog Day, every day is the same thing. Nothing moves. The second place that we can experience and be like is what I call oscillating. Oscillating feels like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, half step back, right? And you kind of move in the direction that you want to go, whether it's in, more money, more love, more health. That's really the 3 buckets that humans really want stuff in. Look, the human condition is really simple. We run away from pain and we run towards pleasure, or at least that's what we try to do. And there's really only 3 things that people usually have desire around, is that they want more money, financial abundance, ability to do the things that they love to do. They want good relationships, meaning love and intimacy, relationships maybe with their children or parents or bosses or employees or whatever. And then, a lot of health issues in the world, especially in the last year and a half. We've been very conscious about health. And so people would love to have great health. And then maybe there's a 4th bucket that's, some miscellaneous desires that don't fit into those 3 buckets. But so we make decisions about the way it's here, the way it is now. And so we can be stuck, oscillating, but where we want to be is in flow. Meaning we can turn thoughts into things. We can manifest our desires. We can create what we'd love to experience. But if we have an identity structure that's been formed in our very early life, and maybe it gets solidified by the 5 or 6-year-old that we were at one point, and we made some decisions about who we are, we can have some very self-sabotaging patterns running in this unconscious or subconscious program. And those patterns kind of sound like this: I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not capable. I'm insignificant. I'm not perfect. I don't belong. How many people feel like they don't even belong to their own family? Right? Got some black sheep and stuff like that. They just don't fit in.
I think everybody probably at a point or another feels the same. There's always us, depends on how we see it, right? You're right. I mean, that's a very good question that most people may not ask, but technically it affects all. Yeah.
So you can have a million variations of these things, but pretty much everybody has 1 or 2 of those that I just mentioned kind of running in their program. And so if you got, let's say, I'm not good enough running, what's happening in the subconscious field is that I'm not good enough to have that thing that I want. And you can oscillate by moving towards it, setting a goal, trying to go in that direction. And then it's like a rubber band that's around your identity and that thing that you want. So you get away like that, and you're moving towards what you want. And the identity is not shifting. The identity still says, I'm not good enough. And boom, you get snapped right back. And then you got to recreate it again. So the identity, quantum physical reality fact here is that the identity is always congruent to the physical reality. All right. So it's the identity that's creating the reality. And unless the identity shifts from I'm not good enough to I am good enough, I'm not worthy to I'm worthy, I'm insignificant or invisible to I am visible, I'm okay. Permission has a lot to do with things. Some people have family history and stuff like that where they're not allowed to do certain things. They don't have permission, and it's totally unconscious. totally running in the subconscious area, right? So that's why we find ourselves in what I'm going to call the problem-solving reality. Ever since we started learning things and our goal setting systems and all that kind of stuff, we're in the problem solving reality. Because when we want something, we say, okay, I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to put a date on it. And I'm going to come up with the 5 or 10 things I got to do to get what I want. But what happens sometimes is the date goes by, we still don't have what we want. So we feel anxious, depressed, not good enough, stupid, not worthy, something like that. It just messes with us. And so we just kind of even give up. So the problem solving reality doesn't work. And in the quantum physical realm, the reason why it doesn't work is because when we're focused on solving a problem, guess what grows?
Anxiety?
The problem.
Well, the problem.
Okay. What you focus on, wherever you focus, energy flows. And here's the number one thing I find out with my clients, right? People know exactly what they don't want. Okay. When you ask somebody, what don't you want? They know, hey, I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be mugged. I don't want to this. I don't want to that, whatever it is. Right. They know what they don't want. But when I ask people, what do you want? You know what the number one answer is?
Nope.
I don't know.
I guess that was close. No.
No. Yeah. I don't know. Right. I don't know is the general answer. Are they, well, I got to think about that. And this is the fundamental problem is we know what we don't want. And we're so focused on keeping away what we don't want. We don't put any energy or focus on what we really do want. And so what I'm going to say is we got to get out of the problem solving reality and we have to step into the creator stance. We need to remember that we are a creative being and we have the power of choice in the present moment. We need to reclaim our power to choose. And to choose what? To choose a true choice, to choose a true end result, to choose a true desire. Now, let me tell you how most people choose. Most people choose by the process of elimination. All right. I got 5 crappy choices and I'm going to pick the least crappy choice. Right. Or they choose by consensus. Hold on a second. Got to check my Facebook here. Let me make sure everybody's going to approve of what I choose. Okay. And take a survey, take an opinion of everybody. Okay. So what everybody else says, that's what I'm going to choose. That's not a true choice. Or it's based on default. Not choosing something is making a choice. And so a lot of times people can be reactive. They're just reacting to circumstances. They're reacting to their environment and they're choosing things, not because it's something that they would really love to experience, but it's just by like default. And so when I say the critical piece here is to become the creator, take the creator stance and really get crystal clear on what it is you do want. And I'm going to give you an example. I got a lot of entrepreneurs that come to me and they say, hey, my true choice or whatever is I want to have a successful business. And I'm like, okay, why do you want a successful business? Well, because I want time freedom. I'm tired of working for my boss. I'm tired of doing the 9-to-5 thing. My boss is an idiot. I'm tired of working for him. And so I need my own business so I can get some freedom, time freedom, money freedom, be my own boss, be my own thing. And so it's not really a true choice because the true choice is that that person wants the experience of abundance. That person wants the experience of having more than enough. That person wants the experience of having freedom. They don't necessarily want the experience of owning a business. Because I can tell you this, I've been in business for 30 years, and sometimes owning a business is not freedom.
Agreed.
Right? So be careful what you request. Be careful what you wish for, because it could turn into struggle. It could turn into a nightmare. It could lead to bankruptcy. It could lead to other things. But because we're in the problem-solving reality, we think, look, I can't get where I want to get through my job, so I have to start a business. I got to be on my own and I got to do it this way. And that's the only way I'm going to get what I want. That's the problem-solving reality. The creator stance says, let me focus on desiring and wanting the experience of abundance, the experience of freedom, the experience of time freedom, the experience of being able to do what I want to do when I want to do it with who I want to do it with, right? And focus on that and allow the quantum physical field to provide you with the circumstances, the opportunities, the people, all of that. You do not need to know how it's going to show up. You just need to know what you want. And instead of you figuring out the steps as to how to get what you want, you step out of that reality and you become a creator by just focusing on what it is you truly want and allowing your superconscious or the infinite field of possibilities to basically serve up that possibility to you. Now, the first question I usually get was, how long does that take? You know, well, it takes a little bit longer than a New York minute. Okay. I'm just going to tell you that. So look, I want to introduce the concept of as soon as possible. I know we live in a microwave society and everybody wants results by tomorrow.
Yesterday, actually.
Yeah, you're right. So creation takes a little bit longer than that.
That's right.
All right. And what happens is we get worn out. We're like, oh, that doesn't work. And then we switch choices, or we try this for a little while and then we try that for a little while. And so we're sending mixed signals into this quantum physical field, this field of infinite possibilities. I want everybody listening right now, if you ever got to see the stars, you don't see them very often in New York, but out here in the West, we see the stars a lot. And when you see the stars, there's just millions of them out there, right? So imagine that each star, when you're looking up, is a possibility. That's what I mean by an infinite field of possibilities. And let's say you're choosing, maybe you're looking for a new relationship, and the true choice that you have is, my true choice is I would love to experience a relationship of amazing love and intimacy with my best friend, partner, life partner. You know what I mean? You're just really clear on this is, maybe you've had relationships in the past and they haven't worked out, but this is what I really want. I want an amazing, intimate, loving relationship. And you know what this person looks like because you know what you're attracted to, and you know their characteristics and their nature. And you've imagined this very clearly, right? One of those stars is that possibility. And your job as a creator is to attract that one possibility into your present moment. Now, this may take a little bit of time because you may not be ready for that possibility yet. You still may have a little bit of growing to do, or some adjustment maybe to do, or some understanding to happen in your life, because that other person needs to be ready for you as well for this connection to happen. Think about all the transactions and all the things that are happening globally, just on this planet alone. It's trillions and trillions and quadrillions of interactions and things like that. So the quantum field is arranging all of these circumstances and situations and people and connections and all that kind of stuff in a perfect way, where everybody is getting the creation that they desire. And everybody needs to understand that your current reality right now, you created it. Whether you like it or not is immaterial. You created it through your choices, through your decisions over a lifetime. And that's why they say a lot of times hindsight is 20/20. When you look back, you can see how the dots got connected. You can see how you got to where you are right now. You know what decisions led to what outcomes and circumstances. Well, that should prove to you that you are a creator through your choices, through your decisions, and what you chose to focus on. It created an outcome. It created an end result. And so right now in the present moment, you are experiencing that which you have created. And that should be good news to a lot of people. I mean, some people will say to me, no way, I didn't create that. I would have created something much better. I didn't create this mess. No way. I'm not taking responsibility for that. Right.
Well, probably.
Yeah. So, but you have to take responsibility. You did create it. This is like quantum physical law. All right. But the good news on that is that in the present moment, you can choose what comes next. Right? You have the power to choose what comes next. But if you're standing there saying, I don't know what I want, well, then what are you going to create? More of the same. You're going to create chaos. You're going to create confusion. You're going to create a mixed up reality. And it may have a little bit of what you want, but it's not the whole enchilada. It's not the whole thing, right? So we have to get really clear. Step one in the magnetic mind method is to have a true choice, a crystal clear, true choice and desire. And I'm going to share with your listeners these 4 core creator stances. They're directional choices. It's like setting a compass or setting a heading, like we're going in this direction. So one of them is, I choose to live my true nature and purpose. I just choose it. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. A lot of people struggle with what brings meaning to their life or purpose in their life. And part of happiness in life, or living a life you love, is having meaning and purpose and fulfillment. So just by choosing to live my true nature and purpose, and you make that a directional choice, a true choice, you're not trying to solve the problem, how to live your true nature and purpose. That's not your job. You don't have to figure out how that's going to show up or how that's going to happen. You just need to know that that is my desire. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. All right. Another one might be, I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. And I didn't say the only creative force in your life, because we live in a co-created universe and everybody's creating their version of reality. But I can be the predominant creative force in my life based on what I focus on. Another one is, my favorite one is, I choose to live the life that I love. And a lot of people like that one. Oh yeah, I want that. I want to live a life I love. And then I ask them, so
what do you love?
what are the ingredients in a life that you love? What is it made of? And again, we know it's not what we have now. Sometimes we know we don't want that, or we want something different, but we don't know what it is that we actually would want. So I like to use the metaphor sometimes of my average perfect week. Meaning, if you were living the life that you loved, what would you be doing on Monday? What would you do on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Tell me what you would be doing. Who would you be doing it with? What would you be wearing? What would you be driving? Where would you be living? Would you be traveling? What would you be doing? See, you need to fill in the specifics of your average perfect week, which would result in a life that you love because it's perfect.
And if you don't, you basically just have an idea, but you have no clue.
Yeah. So you manifest, or you create unconsciously. You're not choosing it. It's just happening by default, right? You're not being clear as to what it is you truly would want. And the last one is really, I choose to be healthy and vital. Okay. So in the last year and a half, the problem solving reality is, what do I have to do to not get infected? What do I need to do to stay safe from this virus, right? I need to wear my mask. I need to do this. Problem solving reality. The creator stance is, I choose health and vitality. I just choose it. I choose optimal, infinite health and vitality, and you focus on that. That is the true choice. That is the one possibility that I'm going to bring into my present moment experience. Now, that may sound outlandish to some people, right? A lot of people have their skeptic hats on or something like that. I'm going to ask everybody that's got their skeptic hat on, take it off for a minute. Let this soak in just for a second. Like, let it soak in. You might have to listen to this show twice, because what we're talking about here is very deep, heavy concepts, all right? Because our belief system has been our belief system for so long, and they don't teach this in school. They don't teach it in college. Most of your friends don't know about this. They just don't. So it could be a very new concept that, hey, I can take the creative stance. I can choose what shows up in my life. I'm going to give you the scientific experiment that really proves this. You've heard of quantum physics, right? And all the little particles, quarks, there's electrons, neutrons, all these subatomic particles and all that stuff. Well, the scientists, what they found out when they, accelerate particles, split particles, do all kinds of stuff to these particles, they found that the particle doesn't even show up until the scientist has the intention to work with the particle. Meaning that the particle only shows up when that person has the actual mental intention to work with that particle. That is creation. That is manifestation. That is what Einstein was talking about. There's only two things in the universe. There's information and there's energy. When information and energy come together, boom, they manifest, they collapse the field into a three-dimensional reality. I don't want to go any deeper into the science than that. I mean, you can go deep, deep, deep into that, but that's what I just want everybody to understand. You're actually collapsing the field into your present moment through your intention and through your choice. And so the problem that we have is that our focus is not laser focused. Our focus is here one day, then it's there one day, then it's over here another day, and it's solving this problem, solving that problem, solving another problem, but we're not focused on what we truly want. So that's step one. Got to have a true choice.
Wow. I couldn't possibly say that I needed to hear this whole thing. I mean, it's pretty consistently, up there, the same pace, and it's broken down to a scientific way, right? I love it. Well, first of all, you're right. And I think anyone listening, watching, if we have to be also aware of this situation. I think you're making us aware right now because we might not be in general, right, even thinking about it, right? But now you hear this and like, damn, I am one of those. Damn, I haven't given myself, like you said, what would that look like? What are you going to be Monday? Let me think about it. Well, you haven't thought about it yet, right? So, and that's exactly, I think that's where everybody, well, not everybody, but I think most of us will probably be in that realm where, and we always blame everything.
Sure.
We're stuck. I am stuck. My circumstances, this, that, the other. No intent. As a matter of fact, one of the shows we had a couple of days ago was about the intent for change. So you're talking about intent. You're right. I mean, we don't connect the dots. We don't even see ourselves as the driver on the seat, right? I mean, there's everything around us that is driving us, and we're not in control. You have control, but you have to be aware of what controls you have and how you can manifest them. Thus, your discussion here.
Yeah.
And I think that is super deep. I mean, it's not even like you said, we can go deeper dive on this, but really that's a big concept. And you do have a methodology to help people kind of get out of the old us and get to the new us, right? Yeah. So before we go there, I just want to really just go back a minute to the earlier discussion. And by the way, I do a lot of these discussions myself, with my friends, and I do love these things. I mean, I enjoy them because the reality is not what we really think it is. There's more to it. I mean, I always refer to this world as a matrix, right? Yeah. We are part of a big, system, and sometimes we don't even understand how it operates. And you're right. You are the predominant, controller or operator in your world because all the other folks, like, for example, we're on the show right now. You are interacting with me. Other people are interacting right now. But this is my piece, like from the radio stand, this is my truth, right? But from your world, this is your reality. You're actually interacting with it. So everybody is seeing it from their angle. Yep. And then you have the influences of everybody around us. Yep. And it started, like you said, in the womb. I mean, you're comfortable, and then you're like, surprise, you're in the world. What the hell's going on here? Right. And you have elements that are like feeding you day in, day out a certain way. And then sometimes you are really in, I refer to the rat race, you're just in one line, tunnel vision. And even when you want to have targets, you don't know how to go about them. And that's a lot of people, there's nobody that can defeat. And literally last night we had this discussion here with one of the CEOs of one of the fitness, brands. And the question was, you have a target, you have a goal, a dream. Well, there's two things. You either talk about it or do something about it. Yes. And so the concept, if you don't have these things in place, if you're not sure how it is, you're never going to be able to do it. And if you're not even looking within yourself, like, what am I doing wrong? And that's the other thing. We don't typically have self-talk and kind of like, look at like, what's wrong with my life? Why is it not going the way I want it? I want to be successful. Mm-hmm. Right. But I seem to be in the same spot over, like spinning wheels, right? Yeah. And that is exactly. So we're just there. And I think most of us, and you mentioned a little bit about the pandemic in terms of health optimization. Well, you know what? Some people actually, that was a wake-up call. Yeah. For some people, creativity kicked in. That's right. I know in the last year and a half, there are a lot of new things that popped up that we didn't know about, or people that change their lives to better, including, I mean, unfortunately, it was a tragedy and it's still a tragedy, but people took themselves out of it and figured out a way. They brought up that inner, because now they had the time to do it.
That's it. I was just going to say that what changed is they actually had some reflective time. Right. They actually had some time to contemplate their situation. They actually had some time to make a new choice, to really love it. Weigh it out, put it on the balance scale. What is it that I really want? Do I want to go back to what I was doing before, or would I love to do something else? And the one thing I want to inject is, a lot of people sometimes say, well, how do I know I have a true choice? How do I know it's a true desire? How do I know I'm choosing the right thing? If I asked you, Hurricane, why do you want what you want? The answer I'm looking for is, I want it just because I want it. I want it just because I'd love to experience it. Period. End of story. No story to tell, no rationalization, no permission from anybody. I don't have to convince you or anybody else. I want it just because I want it. And most of us don't make a decision from that place. Most of us do not make a decision from, I choose this for no other reason than I choose it. I want it just because I want it. I want it just because I would love. And I use the word love because it's not just a whim. It's not just a wish. It's not just a fleeting desire. I would love to experience that.
I love it.
Let that sink in for a second. I mean, the true choice is something that you just love to experience it. It's not whimsical.
What you said is the choice is the choice. The fact that you want to just do it for what it is, you're choosing it. And actually, you made a very quick analogy to when we talked about stars and stuff, and we talked about reality and different options. You wanted that opportunity, but opportunities are open, and unfortunately, we're not looking at multiples, or selecting, because there are so many paths. And you mentioned about if you look back in your history, we all have a history, and sometimes we don't look back, like what happened, what got me to today. The only time that happens, usually, if it's you get superstar and super successful, or something bad happens. Yeah. Like what got me into jail? What got me into this point? What got me into divorce? Now, oh, damn, that I did this, that get me here. But frankly, there's so many, there are almost infinite choices for us. It's just
not almost. Well, there are
infinite. All right. Well, actually, there is no, as they say, there's the think about outside the box. There's no box, damn it. Just right. It's all there. But you're right. I mean, there is no, that's excellent. There is no, and which means that we can make changes. I had a reference the other day to a comment that someone made to me once. Well, because I had put a post about how we are not the fruits or the results of circumstances. Circumstances happen, but you can't blame always the circumstances. Because of them, I didn't. Because of them, I wasn't. Because of them, I'm not able. Right. You can remove yourself from any circumstances and change your life at any given moment. But we have to be, again, conscious about that. That move is not, it's not just, default. That move is conscious. It's got to be planned. And you have to say to yourself, like you just said it now. I want to do it because I want to do it. That's and right. then you say to yourself, I can do it and I will do it. And then it's happening. And now how am I going to do it?
Right. And I want everybody to know, in the age of social media today, and what our culture's been for the last 10, 15 years now, when you say I want it just because I want it, I don't mean you're checking with all your friends first. I don't mean you're checking with mom and dad first, or whoever, or even your spouse. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about internal, deep choice. I want this because I want it. And I'm not checking in with anybody else. Okay. For this experience that I would love to have, this is about you. And we're not trained to think like that. We'll feel guilty about that. We'll say, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. I don't have permission to do that. My spouse will kill me if I do that. Or, you know what I mean? There's things that come up. And I just want people to notice what comes up. When you make a true choice, or you have a true desire, there is resistance that's going to come up to that true choice. That is your egoic mind wanting to maintain the status quo. You see, this part of our conscious egoic mind does not like change. it likes to manage the same thing every day because that's where it's comfortable. Okay. Now, this part of your mind is never going to go away. Without it, you would die. It's the thing that feeds you every day. It's the thing that shelters you. It's the thing that clothes you. It's the thing that protects you and takes care of you, right? In your physical body. So it's necessary. We need it. And so that aspect of our mind is actually trying to protect us from pain because we've done things before. We tried things before. It didn't work out so good. That was uncomfortable. It was embarrassing. I don't want to experience that again. And so this egoic part of our mind is keeping us from a painful experience. Yet the main personality that you are would love to experience something different than the way it is now. You see, there's a little tension there, right?
It is. Well, I'm listening to you, and something that came to mind is that when we talked about realities and choices and infinite, one thing that relates to this is that the concept of, again, this is my world.
Yep.
And I'm interacting with everybody in this world. And again, everybody has the same concept, right? But my family, my wife, my girlfriend, my friends, my kids, everybody, if I did anything different than their expectation and I'm thinking about that, then I'm doing it for them, not for me.
Yes.
So your concept is I got to do it for me, period, and out. Then we'll see how the other ones will manage.
So I want you to think of your life like a holographic movie. Okay.
There you go.
You've been in a movie theater before, right? Imagine you step into the screen and you're the main character, but you're not just the main character. You're the producer, you're the director, you're the screenwriter. Okay. You control all aspects of the movie. And just like watching a soap opera, sometimes some people get written out of the script. New people come into the script.
All the time.
Sometimes people's personalities change. Sometimes, mother-in-law goes from being evil to being nice, right? Or the other way around. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of dynamics that are happening in your holographic movie. And when you choose, you're rewriting the script. And so you're the guy that hands the script to all the characters, and that's the script that they're reading from. That's the part that they're playing for you. And yes, you are ultimately creating your movie.
I've used actually a stage, analogy to the same effect, but I actually do believe in this concept. People may think I'm nuts and crazy, but I do believe that, this is a super, reality or virtual reality that we experience in ourselves. And all these things are manifestations based on our actions and how we move. But there's, let's say for those people that believe in creation and a creator, well, he is the ultimate, designer of all this, but then we all have roles and we have our own creative, minds and pieces of it. And depending on what channel we choose, what form we take, what steps we do, what we believe, we can wind up one way or the other. And there's, again, infinite options.
Yeah.
It's just how you can, like I give these analogies to my son when I try to explain to him this thing, and I'll tell him, you have a virtual game, you can switch programming and switch from one set to the other. You can have different characters, change their dress code, the avatars. This is it. We can do that. But unfortunately, I think the issue here, because it's so real for us, we feel that everything is good and real. We also, tend to want to please everyone.
Yep.
And you said it yourself. You don't want to check with your friends on Facebook and get their buy-in. But unfortunately, the society today has almost dictated that and even back in the days, even through history, if you think different, you're being, burnt to the stick, or whatever,
Right.
hanged. Historically, we've had those, right, in science. And even today, if you start becoming too tangent, too different, oh my God, you're either extreme or you're sick or you have some mental disorder or you're you just hate everybody or you're not really good. And some people actually, they get to that point, I don't really care. This is me.
Yeah, and you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to announce what you're doing to all your friends. You know what I mean? You don't got to talk about this. This is a personal thing. You're doing it in your own being. You're choosing the experience that you would love to have, and then just kind of watch it show up. As soon as possible, that reality will show up. And if your intention is to have your current set of friends and family and all that kind of stuff absolutely accept you for who you are and who you're becoming, then why can't it be that way? See, that's one of the possibilities. The possibility doesn't have to be that you're ostracized or you're going to be burned at the stake or people are going to be making fun of you or they're going to think you're crazy. No, choose the possibility that you get to have what you want and nothing really changes in your relationship. They just magically, mystically accept you for who you are and who you're becoming. That is also a possibility.
And that is actually the ultimate target. If you can get there, that's actually better. That's a better outcome. But the outcome at the end of the day is still yours. It's what you said to be. But that's like a bonus. If you can get that with everybody else buying in, that's a good bonus, right?
Well, you can if you're clear about it, right? When you're creating that true choice, if you never think about that part or you don't desire that part and that's not part of the choice, well, then it could go one of either ways. But if that's important to you, then put it into the choice. Visualize it happening. See it happening just the way you would love it to happen, right? Like in the details, all of the details. See, if you leave out a detail, then, okay, it could go different ways because you have all these holographic movies kind of merging together, okay? So all these characters, everybody else is co-creating their movie as well. And there's some commonality in the movies, right? So you need to be as specific as possible. You need to really think about the details.
Well, Gunther, just to add to that, it's funny because when a writer writes, a movie, right? The script writer, you have a whole, it's detailed to the actual stage, action, the clothing, the looks, the necks, and sometimes it gets changed, and we can still do that at any given moment. Same thing when you write a program. You have to think about all the conditions and all the possibilities to be able to maneuver that. If you set up and create a game, or, we're talking about almost the same concept, except now we're reflecting on our, us being the element of the character. But if you do it correctly, I might believe that people will tend to actually accept it and even become part of it. Because again, it's how you design it, right? If it's attractive enough, I think that's going to be a cool thing.
Well, it's not really dependent on them. So one of the keys of creation, you can't choose for other people. Okay.
True.
So you can't get somebody to go do something for you or be a certain way or whatever. Like if you're with a bad partner, creating that partner to change or whatever, you can focus on the experience you would love to have. And either that partner takes on that role or there's going to be a different partner.
You still experience the same thing. And that's exactly right. That's right.
Because what you're manifesting is the end result. You're manifesting the kind of relationship that you would love to have. And it's either that person or it's going to be somebody else. But you can't force someone to become that thing that you desire.
Well, true. And actually earlier I mentioned about like everybody wants the main things, right? The money, the happiness, the love.
Yeah.
But it can mean different things for different people. I mean, I can have no money and maybe that's where my happiness is. I just want to be humble and just live a simple life. And I know of people that kind of live that life where they just really just walk out and live, very unique, styles. And there are people that their happiness is attached to all the favors of the world and all that. But it's your status. It's your world. You design it the way you want. And as you said, you have control, and it doesn't have to be with the approvals of the rest.
What if you could live a simple life being filthy rich and extremely healthy in intimate, loving relationships all the time? What if you could have it all?
That's not bad. I think that's good. But the idea is the concept of it, not with who, right? How?
No, not specifying who. It's the experience, right? It's the experience. The characters, see, you don't have to worry about how it's going to happen. You just have to know what you want to experience. You don't have to worry about the how. You don't have to worry about the who. You don't have to worry about those details. Allow the universe, the quantum physical field of infinite possibilities, to bring that to you.
And Gunther, the way you place it, the way you state it, I think anyone listening or watching right now would be like, I'm visualizing this already. This is,
Yeah.
I know exactly what I want. Now is the question is, how do you go about it?
Okay.
But yeah,
So step one is you got to have the true choice, right? Step two, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the emotion of the end result. Remember, Einstein said there's only two things in the universe: intention or information and energy. The energy is the emotion. So if you tell me you want something, right, and it's a true choice, I'm going to say, imagine it already being like that. Imagine that you are that future self and you've already created that. Now tell me what that feels like. I want to know
ecstatic.
what it feels like. Okay. So using this imagination that we have, that we've been given, you can in any moment, I don't care where you are, you could be living in the most beautiful place or you could be in the ghetto. It doesn't matter where you are. You can close your eyes and you can like get into your imagination and feel what it feels like to experience that which you desire. All right. And you can experience it to the point where it goes down into your body, into your cells. You can actually feel it in your body. You let that imagination run. Look, this is what our athletes do. This is what people that win world records do or win gold medals in the Olympics. They have seen themselves win that race 10,000 times before they ever actually win the race and get the medal, right?
I'm laughing because I've been in martial arts, and in martial arts and competition, you almost rehearse the fight before the fight happens, and
Exactly.
and you see it, you see all the angles, and you might work, and the other guy is doing the same thing. So at the end of the day, you might still want that dead or whatever or hurt, but at the end of the day, you almost figure out that whole game before it happens. And of course, your reality is that I'm the winner. I'm gonna walk with the trophy. But so I hear you. I mean, I feel it.
Right. So you visualize that. And that's what I mean. We need to exercise that muscle, that imagination to really feel what it feels like now. So that's called getting into the emotion of that end result, getting into the emotion of that true choice, experiencing it in your imagination as though it already is. Because here's the truth: we need to be it now in order to see it. We need to be it now. And most people have that reversed. They're like, well, I'll be that way. I'll be generous. I'll be affluent. I'll be
Once
happy.
I have.
I'll be in love once I have that.
Yeah.
And it's exactly backwards. You need to get into that experience now. What does it feel like now to have this thing that you would love to create? Because when you be it now, you will see it as soon as possible in the three-dimensional world. Okay. And you don't have to worry about how it's going to show up. You just got to be crystal clear on what you want. So then the third step is we need to create some structural tension in the mind, because the mind loves to resolve tension and it will always take the path of least resistance. And what I mean by structure is just a relationship between 2 points. And in the mind, we're going to create the structure of the way I would love it to be, the way, that feeling, that emotion of the end result you were just in is the way I'd love it to be, and contrast it with the way it is now. The way I want it to be, the way it is now. Now, not with judgment, not saying that the current reality is bad or terrible or just horrible or anything like that. Without judgment, you're just observing what is. This is the way I'd love it to be. This is the way it is now. This is the way I'd love it to be. This is the way it is now. And you're creating the structural tension in the mind because the mind wants to resolve the tension through the path of least resistance. And there's gonna be a feeling of resistance when you do that, because from the current reality, getting to the desired reality, it's going to feel like there's some blockage in the way. There's going to feel like there's something holding you back. And you mentioned that earlier with excuses, or I'm tied here, or I'm stuck, or whatever. That's the resistance. The resistance is in the way. It's always talking the talk, and it's always telling you why you can't have what you want. Okay. So just
true.
be aware of that. There's just a resistance. Notice the resistance. This is the way it is now. And I want to present the concept here of being content with the way it is now. You can actually choose to love your life right now. When I say become super conscious to create the life that you love, you can actually choose to live the life you're living right now. You can choose it. And it doesn't mean that you have to stay in that reality forever, because you do have the power of choice. And the future is not going to be better than the present. The future is just going to be a different experience than the present.
Love that.
Change the word better to the word different, and it takes the energy, the negative energy, out of the current experience. See, because the way it is now is just the way it is. I created the way it is now, which means that I can create something different. And it immediately puts you in the power position. You immediately reclaiming your power in the present moment to choose something different. And we already went. Step one, we're going to be clear on what we want. We're going to get into the emotion, the end result, and we're just going to create this structural tension in the mind between the way it is now and the way I'd love it to be. The way it is now, the way I'd love it to be. And step four is where it gets pretty cool. This is what I call a revolution in the personal development space. Okay. I think the personal development movement is broken because they keep making you come back to fix yourself to get what you want. And so you keep buying books and courses and all this kind of stuff to figure out what's wrong. What did mommy and daddy do to me? What did some traumatic experience do to me, or this or that? And I'm not minimizing anybody's pain or anything like that, because look, emotions and thoughts, although they're not real, they really feel real. But we create our emotions and we create our thoughts as well, and we can choose them.
Well, they generate the experience, which eventually that's what you're experiencing. Literally.
Right. But most people think like emotions are coming at them and they're like coming from somewhere other than themselves. No, we're actually creating our emotions. We're creating our thoughts. And whether the emotions lead the thought or the thought leads the emotions, doesn't matter. Okay. It's just they make you feel a certain way, but you get to choose. And so the way the personal development movement has done it for so long, we have this subconscious program. And here I want you to think about Windows 10. Okay. You got a computer, you got Windows 10. You have no idea how Windows 10 runs that machine, right? It's an operating system. Your subconscious mind is like that operating system. You have no idea what's in it. You just know that it runs. It runs your brain waves, runs your heart, expands and contracts your lungs. It's running all your body functions. It's doing everything. And it has those self-sabotaging personalities in it also that were created when you were 5 years old, right? So it's totally unconscious. So the way the personal development movement's been doing it is trying to hit it through the conscious mind. This sounds like positive mental attitude, affirmations. It's using your motivation and your willpower to kind of forcefully change your mind so that you can be a more positive, happy, loving, kind person. You know what I'm saying? Like you're forcing yourself through your conscious mind to somehow change this subconscious program. What we do that's different than anybody else in the magnetic mind method is we're going to go to your superconscious side. Now everybody's going to ask, what the heck is superconscious? Superconscious is like your soul, your higher self, this aspect of your being, and you may not have a relationship with it. You may not know it. And I want to say this too. You do not need to be spiritual to do this. You don't need to be a great meditator to do this. You don't need any kind of skills to do what I'm sharing with you here right now. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. Okay. We're going to go to that highest aspect of who you are. And it works best in the beginning to do this with a coach. Okay. Because it's kind of hard to learn it on your own. Somebody's got to kind of guide you through it. So what we do in step 4 is what we called a recode, a magnetic mind recode. And we're going to go to that super conscious side of who you are. And as a coach, I talk to your superconscious. I get into the field because we're all connected in the field. All right. And there's all kinds of science. You want to learn about this science? Read books by Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart. Okay. The books are out there. You want to learn about the science and the experiments that have been done. And this is not my opinion, what I'm sharing with you. This is like 4 decades of science. Okay. I'm just telling you how to apply it to your life. So we're going to go to the superconscious level and we're going to say, hey, superconscious, because I'm not going to talk to Hurricane. Let's say we were doing a session right now. I'm not talking to Hurricane. I'm talking to your superconscious. I'm like, okay, do you see what this main personality named Hurricane? Do you see what he really wants? You see that true choice? You see that true desire? Okay, great. Do you see the way it is now? Yeah. Do you see all that resistance that's in the way of that true choice of him really getting there? And then we check a lot of things. We check alignment, we check belief systems, we check family history, we check secondary intentions. There's a whole gamut of stuff, body chakras, energy systems, all kinds of stuff. Superconscious, we ask superconscious to find all the resistance that's in the way of the main personality experiencing that true choice. And what's beautiful about this is that we don't need to know why. We don't need to know where the resistance came from. We don't need to unpack it. We don't need to sit on a psychiatrist's couch for 10 years figuring out what happened, what went wrong, why is it that I don't have what I want, and do I have to forgive somebody or do this or do that? None of that. It doesn't matter. Superconscious knows. Okay, and superconscious knows what that 5-year-old may have put into the code, like Windows 10. And so Windows 10, every once in a while, you download an update, right? Mm-hmm. It says, hey, we got an update. You say install the update installs, you restart the machine, and now it works better, and some of the bugs got fixed, right? That's exactly what we're doing.
Reboots.
That's exactly what we're doing to the subconscious mind. We're asking superconscious, because look, superconscious never sleeps. Superconscious knows everything, has always been there. Every emotion, every upset, every happy moment, joyous moment, every failure, every success, doesn't matter. Superconscious knows everything. You don't have to tell it anything. That's why we're just asking it questions. Do you see this? Do you see that? And then we're going to say, look at all these things, find it all the resistance, tag it for treatment. And then we're going to ask superconscious to do what I call a massive change history. Just change the history in the perfect way, in the perfect order, realign things, recode things so that the main personality can have less pain and more satisfaction in life and get closer to that true choice, to that experience. It takes about 15 minutes to do it.
I was going to ask, how long does it take? I thought it was going to take longer.
No, about 15 minutes. Superconscious works pretty fast. Okay. Doesn't take that long. And then we go to step 5. This is where the secret and the law of attraction and stuff like that drop the ball, because they never told you to take action. And a lot of people went through the secret and they went through the law of attraction. They think they can sit on their couch in their living room and manifest a Ferrari in their garage.
That'd be nice.
Doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. But a lot of people thought, oh, that's the way it works. I just need to have a positive mental attitude. I just need to tell myself all these affirmations, and the little voice is saying, come on, man, that's not true, right? Or I'm going to try to meditate, or I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to try to do that. I mean, do those things work? Yeah, they work, but they take a long time. They take a lot of discipline. They take a lot of motivation, a lot of willpower to get that done. So 5th step is we need to take obvious, aligned action. We need to be in momentum to the true choice. So after we do a recode, we ask superconscious, okay, what's the next obvious action step to take? That will be in alignment with that true choice. And it's obvious. It could be a little thing, could be a big thing, but the main word is it's obvious. The action step you need to take to move closer to that thing that you say you would love to experience, right? And that is the number one thing that you can do to let your superconscious know that you're serious about this choice. When you take action in the direction of that choice, you are letting your superconscious self know that you mean business. You're serious about that choice, right? That's a powerful, powerful step. Aligned, obvious action. Step 5.
This is probably going to be an intense hour for anyone listening to the show, watching it, and be like, you're right. Someone's going to have to watch this twice and then maybe even more to just comprehend some of these functionalities and these elements and break them. But the fact of the matter is, it is a scientific method, and it is actually broken down. And by the way, whatever you're covering right now, even with the subconscious, superconscious, some people are aware that that is real and it happens. I mean, obviously some people may not have a clue of what is that, but we all kind of believe in that. And again, depends on our belief systems. Some people have more spirituality and they understand the soul, but you're right. I mean, there is that higher being within. I refer to as the ghost in the machine, runs
Sure.
things. But that's, I mean, from the Greek mythology, that's the where it came from. But those folks, that are aware, they understand there's that. But you're right. If you're not getting to that level where you have your higher being taking over, you have a problem. But that's well, they don't have a problem, but it's a challenge, right? Because in a way,
the end result is you don't get what you want.
There you go.
I mean, that's the problem, right? We came into this conversation saying, look, I want to learn how to be super conscious to create the life that I love, because right now the life that I have is not the one that I love. Okay. I would like some things to be, I mean, it's just that simple, right? Yeah. So what we're talking about is here, do you get results? I don't care what you do. The answer I'm looking for is that, yeah, what I do gives me what I want in my life. What I do, whether I meditate or I'm spiritual, or I pray, or I do this, or I do that, yoga, or stand on my head for half an hour, whatever it is you do, is it getting you the result that you want in your life?
But Gunther, so here's a question. Some people may listen to this and like, well, I think I'm doing this. I am working. I am doing what I have to do. I think I know I want to get a better car. I want to get a better job. But it's not working out. I'm not getting your feed. Like, I'm not seeing what you're saying right now, because you're saying it in a way that is the experience and manifest it. But I think I'm manifesting it. So maybe the ability to see the difference between the current state and the real state, what do you say to those people?
Well, I will say immediately that, yes, you are manifesting. You're just unconsciously manifesting. If you don't have your true choice. Again, remember, first step number one is a lot of people don't know what they want. Yeah. Now a car is a good example. As soon as you pick a new car, right? You get a car in your eye and it's a red Ford Mustang, let's say, or something like that. All of a sudden you see red Ford Mustangs everywhere, right? Ooh, that's a car I'm looking at. And then like every third car is a red Ford Mustang. Does that mean that the red Ford Mustangs didn't exist before? No, it's just that the reticular activating system in your brain has opened up and focused on what you said you wanted, or what you're interested in, what you're desiring. And all of a sudden, there it is. It's starting to show up. And the more you focus on that, pretty soon you'll have a red Ford Mustang. You'll find a way to manifest a red Ford Mustang in your life. Right?
Well, first of all, I personally have used some of those and did get whatever those Ford Mustangs were, whatever, we can define them in different ways. But you're right. And I know it takes awareness. It takes that first step. It takes you almost visualizing exactly what you want. And I think every successful person in life, and when I say successful, it doesn't have to be like, the way we see success is someone that's rich. Anyone that's gotten what they've, put in place to be, right? And they set their targets, they go for them, whatever they might be. They have that. They always visualize that. Even from in the corporate world, if you really want to succeed, or in the business world, you want to succeed, you visualize what, like I gave the example of Disney, Walt Disney. He had the vision of Epcot, and Disney World, years before it was even happening. He almost had the whole thing, how it's going to work, who's going to be there, what we're going to do, what's the mission, and that's really, and even he experienced it. I'm almost positive that he had the whole joy about having it there and things like that. So, and some of us listening today will probably have similar experiences, but I think it's really just almost magnifying it, since we're talking about, magnifying to the level where it's really a higher, piece of our living.
Yeah, I want to touch on that. So what we define as success, in our culture, we look at successful people or people with a lot of money, or they're celebrities or something like that. That's how we generally define success. But when you look at some of these successful people, I want to ask you, did Michael Jackson or Prince or Oprah Winfrey or, Elon Musk, who we got today, or Jeff Bezos, or whoever you want to name, did they spend any time fixing themselves? Do they spend any time working on their personality? Are they perfect people? Do they have every part of their life just wired? No,
I don't think so.
They just made a lot of money, right? They have successful businesses. That is their main focus. Elon Musk sends rockets into space every other week. Now Jeff Bezos in the game. Jeff Bezos spent his last 20 years building Amazon, right? His whole life has been focused on Amazon. Was he able to keep his marriage together? No. Do his kids love him? I don't know. So when I talk about success, I'm talking about success in every aspect of your life, because we have a belief system that in order to be financially successful, I have to only focus on that, and every other part of my life, my health will suffer, my relationships will suffer, because I have this goal, I'm going to be financially successful. Or you may have your priority in your relationships, and therefore you can't make any money because your my time with my kids, and I'm at all the softball practices and the music practice and all this kind of stuff. And I just don't have time to work anymore. And therefore I can't create abundance in my life.
Well, you summarized that earlier as that the abundance of life with all the happiness, things that you can have.
Yeah.
Including the money, the love, and the prosperity and the safety and all
the
that.
Health, right?
We're on the health channel.
Yeah. What if you acquire the whole world and lose your health?
Nothing is going to be worth it. I mean, we've experienced it through the pandemic, and you can have the most. I mean, I actually, it's not a secret with God, totally like Steve Jobs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of money, unfortunately, cancer, and it was no matter what you were doing, there's no money that could have saved him, and he actually stated that himself in one of his last words. And that's really, an example we all have to be aware. To your point, it's not about the money. It's having that optimum level of life. And that's not an easy thing to do.
As you choose. Yeah, but you see, as soon as you say that's not an easy thing to do, you're right. What if it could be easy? What if you could just choose it the way you would love it to be, and put that into the field and choose that? See, as soon as we have the thought that it's hard, anything worth having, you got to earn it, no pain, no gain. We have all these things floating around in our mind, and, very successful people have told us these things, but that's the way they did it. What if, I really want everybody to ask themselves what if questions. What if it could be easy? What if it could be effortless? What if it could be joyous? What if it could be happy all the time? What if I could have anything that I want as soon as I think about it? I can create anything that I want in my life.
I can tell you this, me as your audience right now, and also, maybe let's say I am your client. I would say it will happen. It can happen, and it's not as hard, but it takes the belief. And I think that's the key element.
I'm going to say it takes the choice, right? Whether you believe it or not, okay? The only thing that you have to believe is that it's a possibility. Like, if you don't believe it's even possible, then you're dead at the start. You're stuck. Okay. If I can just get you to believe that, look, it's a possibility. Can we just agree that it could be easy is a possibility?
It is. And I think everyone listening, watching today would agree to that.
All right. So in my life, what I choose is an ELF business, ELF. I got that from Joe Polish. I stole it from him. Okay. But it stands for easy, lucrative, and fun. Okay. Easy, lucrative, and fun. Those are the criteria that I desire, that I choose to manifest. If it's hard, I don't want it. If it's not lucrative, I don't want it. If it's not fun, I don't want it. And it needs to be all three, not just two, not 2 out of 3. It needs to be all 3: easy, lucrative, and fun. That is the true choice that I put in business, that I put in anything that I do. Any choice that I have, it needs to be easy, lucrative, and fun in the business world, right? In my relationships, it's choosing the words that describe intimacy, friendship, loving, you know what I mean? Joyful, pleasant, easy, peaceful, like no drama. I don't want any drama.
You're defining them. You're defining them.
You're defining it very specifically. And because you define it and because you're specific, superconscious says, I can do that. I can create that for you. That's not a problem. Well, last time you didn't say easy, lucrative, and fun. So I created hard and struggle. Okay. Because you weren't clear. Okay.
Well, so that brings us to the concept of mindset, right? You have to shift the way you think.
Yes,
because
that takes a little time.
Yeah, because unfortunately we all and that's a lot of us are stuck with that concept where I'm seeing the world in a way, like you said, like because everybody else is telling you this is how you live and this is how the world is. But if you shift your mindset that you can, you will, you have the ability, and now we take it to the next step and take it to those stages where now we're defining it to our super conscious, it can be done. And that's, the rest is history. Because I know for a fact when you want something and you can define it clearly and you really believe in it and you take the choice that it's going to exist, it will exist. And actually experience, I can tell you this personally. I mean, and some people may even, relate to this. And you potentially, you probably would say yes, is that when we do believe in something and we take the choice and we really see it and define it and experience it, it does manifest. I don't know who in here can deny that. I know I've experienced it in different ways. I know everybody when something, now again, it may not be the perfect scenario when you have the elf and you have it all, but at least one of the items, like you said, with some of these successful people, they manifested what they wanted the most of it, but they sacrificed other things. But can you do the same thing and just without the sacrifice? I think, sure. It's a choice. As you said, we can make the choice.
It's a possibility. Therefore, you can choose it.
Love it.
You see?
Love it.
If you're in the field of infinite possibility and you can imagine it being easy and pleasant and you can keep everything in harmony and balance and all that, then choose that. If that's what you desire, if that's what you want, if that's what you would love to experience, then get clear on that and choose that. And here's the thing. The last thing you want to do is train your superconscious mind that you don't follow through on what you want. So when you do a choice, I want it to be a real choice that you're going to follow through on, because the last thing you want to do is start on a choice and then give up, because you're teaching your superconscious that you're not serious. There's a level of seriousness to creation that it's got to be something you love, you're going to follow through on, you're going to stay committed to it till you get it, okay? Because it may take some time to show up. Your identity may have to shift a little bit. We may need to do some recodes, so that resistance needs to get melted away. There's a little bit of work that needs to get done. And most of my clients, it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to really get this down and to really shift that identity, and they start becoming this super conscious creator, and things start clicking. But it takes a while because look, we've been playing one song on the record for a long time, and that it's grooved really deep. And so we have to pick up the needle. If you remember vinyl, right? You got to pick up the needle,
I do.
Move it over to a different song. You got to play a different song in your mind. And it's not the problem solving reality song, the way we've been taught to do everything. I want this thing, so I got to solve this problem. I got to solve that problem. I got to do this. What are all my friends doing? How did my parents do it? What did they teach me in school to do? Da, 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 da. Oh, this is the way you do it. I read this book that the book told me how to do it this way, right? That's all the problem solving reality. Step out of that whole thing. Don't focus on the problem at all. Focus on what you want. Focus on it exactly the way you want it. And then let your superconscious go to work. Let your superconscious figure out how that's going to come to you. I mean, look, you want $10 million? You could find a bag of money on the street. You could win the lottery. You could win, it could come up, show up in different ways. You could wind up being in a will that you didn't even know the people, but they liked you and they put you in their will. Okay. There's a million ways.
They happen. These things happen.
They do happen.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You said something quickly about, do not train your mind if you're not going through with things. I mean, I would refer that as crying wolves to your super.
That's right.
Because, that would be like, that's easy to actually understand, right? If you keep saying the same thing, I'm not taking it serious. Forget about it. Right. That's, so here's the thing. I mean, I'm looking at the time and I told you earlier, we're going to go through that hour quickly.
Yep.
This felt like a hypnosis session because we started and it's over and it's like, it felt like 10 minutes and it's been over an hour. But I mean, I do want more, but I just want to, like in a nutshell, to just summarize it, if you don't mind, for the audience.
Yep.
Just, I don't know, you did a little bit of that earlier, but like if we can close with that, but also how do people reach out to you and maybe benefit from your services and really getting into that coaching mode and getting this. I mean, it is, I think a lot of people would be interested in, get into that next level.
That's my favorite question. So thanks.
You're welcome.
No, if you resonate with the conversation we're having tonight, then you can check it out at dreamlifemasters.com with an S, dreamlifemasters.com. I got some free resources on there. One of them is a mental programming system, just to kind of change maybe some of your morning habits, create a morning ritual, start getting in the habit of crystallizing what you want and aligning all aspects of your life into something. Also got a link on there for a webinar if you want to get deeper into the science, So if this resonates, you might have to listen to the show 2 or 3 times to really, and take some notes, because when you take notes, it sinks in deeper. Okay. Really get these concepts down, because look, it can change your life. What we shared with your listeners tonight, today, or what time it is there, but, it can change your life for the rest of your life and the lives of your children and loved ones. I mean, you learn this thing. There's nothing else you need to learn. When you learn to become super conscious, you simply learn to recode the resistance that's in the way, and you take obvious action that's in alignment with your true choice. You get to this place where you turn thoughts into things, and life just becomes easier. It becomes more fun. You just get happier. You become more powerful. You look at the world a different way. You kind of become invincible, or a little bit like Superman, or Superwoman. You just choose what you want. You set the intention, you get into the emotion, you understand the way it is now, the way it's going to be, you recode the resistance out, and you take obvious action. And you just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. There's nothing else to know. There's nothing else to learn. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to dig up. There's none of that ugly work to do. It's just get clear on who you are and what you want, and then just do the 5 steps. And then, if people want to actually do a recode session with me, be happy to do that for your listeners, on that dreamlifemasters.com. There's a place on the bottom where you can get a special one-on-one recode session with me. I spend an hour and a half with you. We go through the 5 steps. You experience a live recode. You're going to feel the shift of the identity. You're going to feel lighter. And, we're going to have a great conversation, and you're going to see things differently.
Wow. Well, listen, first of all, I think, the main piece that I'm going to leave the audience on my side is that you just gave us the recipe of good life and bliss. And frankly, that's a formula of true success, because nothing can stop you if you were able to achieve that. That's like being super you. And I think, I don't know of anyone that says no to that. I mean, we all want the what do you call it? The elixir of life. And, this is almost the same thing, but you might not live forever, but you can live as you live forever here. And who knows, maybe if, we go to the next world, they will continue with you. But that is super right there. And I think anyone listening once or twice, and it would require a little bit of note taking and stuff. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, if you just take your time to absorb all these concepts, you'll see that we all need it. We all can use it, and we all can do it. And so again, it's a matter of choice. We have to choose and experience that. Yes, this is what we want. And we have the access to you and to your site. And so folks, you have the opportunity. Go ahead.
I just want to say, look, at the end of the day, life is precious, right? We only have so many days that we're going to be in this body having this experience, right? So why not choose to make this experience the absolute best it can be?
That's it. I want to stop with that. Listen, I mean, really, this was so much fun and so much value. And it just like I said, it is the recipe of true success and bliss. And, I want, like I said, I want to do more. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but
that's great.
But thank you so much for really being on the show and bringing a whole different angle on live perspective here. And, that's, for me, I am excited. I mean, I think the mission of today's show has been established, and, I think we're delivering the message that is powerful. So thank you for being with us, and folks, thank you for listening, watching, and yes, do check out the site. It will be on the description of the show. Do reach out to Gunther. Hey, listen, if you feel this is something you want to test and get rebooted with, why not? Let's do it. And that's it. So for me, Ergan H here. Hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Different show, guest, topic. Ciao, ciao for now. Bye-bye.